this is how it's going to go. First of all, I mean, it wasn't only Jane Austen that inspired this project, but I'm not going to thank the coronavirus for it, but it was a great impetus behind moving this event online. And it wasn't anything that we foresaw before this happened, but you know, sometimes we can take out the positive from the negative that we are in. I believe that this is a time of uncertainty and harshness, but it's a time that can be very important for everyone's creativity. It's a time to use imagination in a way that we might not otherwise have done. A time to explore the inner world, because you know, we're indoors most of the time, and be receptive to our own creativity, the images of the inner world, allowing them to appear to us so that we can paint them, write about them, draw them, or craft them into a reality in any way that our creativity allows us to. Plus, you know, I'm very thankful for having you, first of all, and secondly, for having this platform to share and showcase our creative work. You know, we have people from different parts of the world. This is amazing, and it wouldn't have happened if we didn't do this on Zoom. And you know, I believe that it gives us a sense of community, a sense of togetherness, and I hope a feeling of interconnectedness, despite the fact that the world is very vast. It also offers a cozy artistic space to share with one another wherever we are, which also helps in offsetting the feelings of being imprisoned and escaping feelings generated by confinement, isolation maybe. So tonight, or today, depending on which side of the world you're in, there will be poetry and maybe songs. The event will have two parts. First of all, the recital, and then the open mic. So either way, we'll be using language to express and connect with one another. In the first part of the program, or the first hour, it will feature recitals by Indelible's contributors. So these will include poets from all around the world, faculty members, students of AUD, whose poems appeared in the April 2020 issue of the journal. And I am extremely happy and honored to be hearing you all, hearing you read your poems live. We will also be hearing the poetry of special guests who have not been contributors to Indelible, but who we hope to be future contributors. And the second part of the evening will be an open mic. It will give members of the audience a chance to read their poems or sing their songs, whichever they choose. However, if you'd like to give it a shot during the open mic, you may mention it in the chat box on the screen. It'll be a first come, first serve, and we hope that everybody can be given a chance to read their poems or play an instrument or sing a song. So, as I said, everybody's muted. I will unmute the speakers when it's time for them to recite. And without further ado, let's get this party started. We start first with Dr. Omar Sabbagh. Omar, I'm going to try to unmute you. Is it working now?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well.
Great, great. Thank you, Rula, for this opportunity, and thank you so much for organizing this. This is a wonderful, wonderful platform for the journal and for the university and for the whole community. The problem is, I'm not sure, I don't have a printout of my poems in Indelible with me. My printer broke down.
Okay.
So I was wondering, is it possible for me to read from a screen while this is not on? Can you still see me while I'm reading from the...
Right, so why don't you prepare the soft copy so you can read it?
Right, okay.
In the time, I'll read your bio, if you don't mind.
That'd be great, okay.
Okay.
And can you confirm for me that you can still see me while I kind of minimize the screen? Because I'm just, yeah, okay.
Oh, and one little tip. If you want to be able to see the poet more clearly, maybe you want to switch to speaker view instead of gallery view. So that way the poet will be viewed better.
Right, okay.
Okay, so Omar, I'm going to introduce you now.
Okay.
Dr. Omar Sabbagh is a widely published poet, writer, and critic. His first collection and his fourth collection are, respectively, My Only Ever Edible Complaint, and To the Middle of Love, both by Cinnamon Press, 2010 and 2017. His fifth collection, called But It Was an Important Failure, is recently published with Cinnamon Press, 2020. His Beirut novella, Via Negativa, A Parable of Exile, was published with Licorice Fish Books in March 2016. And a riveting collection of short fictions, Die and Other Stories, was released in September 2017. His Dubai novella, Minutes from the Miracle City, is forthcoming with Fairlight Books. Oh, sorry, has already come in July 2019. And a study of the oeuvre of Professor Fiona Sampson, For the Love of Music, that's the title, should be released by Anthem in 2020, so pretty soon. He has published scholarly essays on George Eliot, Maddox Ford, G.K. Chesterton, Henry Miller, Lawrence Durrell, Joseph Conrad, and Lytton Strachey, T.S. Eliot, Basil Bunting, Hilary Belloc, George Steiner, and others, as well as on many contemporary poets. Many of these works are collated in his To My Mind, or Kinboats, Essays on Literature. He holds a BA in PPE from Oxford.
Oh, come on.
3 MAs, that's the only bio I got. So.
Okay.
3 MAs, all from the University of London, in English Literature, Creative Writing, and Philosophy, and a PhD in English Literature from KCL. He was visiting assistant professor of English and creative writing at the American University of Beirut from 2011 to 2013. He now teaches at the American University in Dubai, where he is associate professor of English. All right, Ahmad?
Cool. Thanks so much for that, Rilla. Thank you so much. The first poem that was published in the Indelible issue was titled The Music of the Dead, or Evening Then Bliss, and is up.
We can't hear you. Oh, yes, now we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, good. So I'll read the first one. The first one is about written out of the context of the Corona lockdown and so on. And the second one is from my daughter, which I will read it afterwards, if I may, if that's okay. So I'll read The Music of the Dead, or Evening Then Bliss. The evening sky alights with this gentle force, more like a soft tug, upon the tropical colors the towers still glow with here. In some miracle city where you convince yourself against the knot of life you are not quite dead. There is still in all the stillness a weakness he can speak of through, though across the plains of the evening sky, windswept prairies, like axioms for the free, tall blades of grass, the green or just off green towers of sap, the wind from the sky's evenings falling into grace of a kind to bat the world at last with a few stray birds perhaps, and that kindness making some swift kiss and some swift kiss of forgiveness happen. Okay. The second poem was written for my daughter one morning, actually. It's titled The Book Between Morning and Morning. And it's, I suppose, just a poem of love for my daughter, and I suppose it's sort of saying that although I'm a bibliophile, I like books, I love books, you know, there's no book like her, and no book that lasts like her. So anyway, here we go. The Book Between Morning and Morning, for Alia. There is no book like this, timeless, between morning and morning. The day begins again and again, and no more of the same again with this girl who travels distances, unraveling gifts once wrapped in the smithy of a deep red place that cannot be forged anymore. No hot lane, nor kiln, nor pottery, and no pottering about anymore has red ice enough to still this name I find again, percolating in pins that mend and seam so much, and with a svelte type of shock, this cradle sounds outwards to the roundness of a whole world founded and known for a smile, ratcheting the beating ricochets there. There is no coverless book like this, and no book ever was ever so coverless. No story or tale or lay holds an equal music quite as resonant as these semiotic sounds that crave outwards in the vivid sunlight from her crystal blue eyes. Slowly now, but adamantine, I look to the north and find a different place, change in the mind echoing within, the same. And the mind has no weapons, except the heart which might move it so, the apt distance, which is quiet and infinite. And the mind has no steel rapture except by the motor of the heart. And the laws of my reason now wake in a graveyard where felt pride falls again and again and again. A girl now speaks out from the book of her happiness like no other book ever. Its words, though, its traveling, traveling words, and such invisible print and such invisible print. Thanks.
That was very beautiful, Ahmad.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. All right, so up next, we have Dr. Hedi Habra. Hedi, I will be unmuting you now. Ahmad, I'll have to unmute you.
Okay.
All right, so Dr. Hedi Habra was born in Egypt and is of Lebanese origin. She has authored 3 poetry collections, most recently The Taste of the Earth, winner of the 2020 Nautilus Silver Award, honorable mention for the 2020 Eric Hoffer Book Award, and finalist for the Best Book Award. Tea in Heliopolis won the Best Book Award, and Under Brushstrokes was finalist for the USA Best Book Award and the International Book Award. Her story collection, Flying Carpets, won the Arab American Book Award's honorable mention and was finalist for the Eric Hoffer Award. Her book of criticism, Mundos Alternos y Artísticos en Vargas Llosa, focuses on the visual aspects of the Peruvian Nobel's narrative. She was a 14-time nominee for the Pushcart Prize and Best of the Net, and her website is hedihabra.com. So Hedi is a very special guest, an inspiration to us all. And Hedi, we can't wait to hear your poems.
Thank you, Rula. Thank you for this magnificent introduction. And thank you very much for featuring me in Indelible.
Thank you for being here. It's an honor.
And organizing this wonderful event where we have this opportunity of listening to other wonderful poets such as Dr. Omar Sabag that has just read. I'd like to read one of the poems only that were in Indelible, and it's included in The Taste of the Earth, my latest collection, which is a memoir in poems about origin, roots, losses, and displacements. This poem that I'm going to read is titled Vanishing Point. And it's an ekphrastic poem. It's inspired by the artwork of Juanita Guccione titled Surreal Board Games. And the context or the backdrop of this poem is when we left Lebanon in '75. At the onset of the war, my children were 1 and 3, and my husband couldn't leave with us, but he took us to the airport. And the only way to the airport was an ominous or infamous bridge that was targeted from all sides by snipers. So the poem is Vanishing Point. Under a dark moon that has decided to keep silent, I wander along the street of chance, staring at the vanishing point, uncertain of the odds of being, but with the certainty that it leads to the sea. I walk like an automaton among passers-by, gliding as faceless palms. A couple of black horses pound the pavement, wavering between going forward or backward. I wonder what lies for me at the end of this road lined with lamplights and palm trees. Fan-leaved branches stretch, unfolding an animated deck of cards, turning into murals that grow in size. Shuffled and reshuffled at each step, some cards flip into a hall of mirrors in which I see myself in my own reflection, as though in an old photo album where the faces of those now buried are fading. We're crossing the bridge of death to leave behind the madness. Black sacks stained with blood. Stillness. Snipers. A heart skips a beat. I walk faster, look sideways. Some things are best forgotten. Let's fold the night into light. I pass a couple of young men who seem to get closer to me, then recede and peel off the murals, disintegrate like antique parchments at the sight of an imposing woman in tyrant purple, a younger version of my mother, who takes me by the hand and whispers in my ear, "There isn't a minute to lose." Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hedy. This was absolutely amazing, very well woven, very touching. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
I believe you have time for another poem, so if there's anything else that you'd like to share.
Okay, so I will read then the title poem for The Taste of the Earth.
Okay.
The Taste of the Earth. Two fawns cross the creek. One of them pauses, linked to his mirror reflection by the tip of his tongue. Parallel worlds merge on the fault line of a folded image. A musical phrase sticks to your skin. The wind espouses ripples. Liquid dunes lick the shoreline, give moisture to wild brush, blown over seeds and thoughts. Iridescent hummingbirds hover over purple iris blooms. The shore is faithful to the stream's first touch. Like first love, it nourishes tendrils rising into a green flame, never forgotten, like the taste of the earth. A desert thirsts for an oasis. A fawn melts into the music of a fable, a gazelle. New memories map rhizomes, twisting, anchoring us farther with each shoot, spreading from our birthplace to everywhere we've lived, to where we live now. And does it make a difference if the root remembers?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hedy. Keep
Thank
them
you very
coming.
much.
Thank you so much. And next we have Mariam. Mariam, here you are. Mariam, can you hear us? Hello? Mariam, can you hear us now? We can't hear you yet.
No, I think you got the wrong Maryam.
Oh,
It's all right. I'm her cousin. We have the same last name.
okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
You have the same first name as well.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. All right. Well, nice meeting you.
You too.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. So Mariam Majdi is a young, brilliant Emirati poet, currently doing her bachelor's in business management and a minor in English literature at the American University in Dubai. Her poems are scattered pieces of herself, stories stemmed from other stories. She is an admirer of all forms of art and aspires to make a difference in the lives of people around her through her works of literature. Mariam, welcome once again.
Thank you.
And we can't wait to hear your poem.
Okay, am I supposed to read two or one?
Well, technically you have time for two because it's an overall 5-minute slot. So
Okay.
yeah, we could fit both poems.
Okay, so the first poem I'm going to read is called Where the Cradle Lies, and it's been published on Indelible. So I'm going to read this first, and then I'm going to read the next one. So Where the Cradle Lies. At the start, right before the night turns dark, the love-stained sky welcomed us with open arms, radiating its coral colors, blush and runny tint of what erupts, held up by dark smoky clouds. Then it blew its soft breeze, carrying traces of divine fragrance, bringing to us a murmur of prayers. The earth fell silent as the sky echoed the call for prayer. We immersed in the breath of what is familiar to us. The damp, cool air whispered by our ears, kissed our jawlines. I remember as children, we played under the steps. And above sat Nana, her mouth moved to the verses she read, her legs stretched out on the stool. The night falls dark, and immediately the garden lamps are lit. That's the first one.
Okay.
And now I'm going to read the second one, and it's called Epilogue. It hasn't been published anywhere, but Professor Amar Sabagh loves it, so here goes. Epilogue. His lips pressed on skin, bodies that have traces of sun washed over every limb, and his tongue held flavors of mouths from the insides, thorough to lustrous tips. Then a fair milky touch. He kissed cheeks that burned radiant, flushed. His tongue gently soothed the bleeding petals to the depth of their buds. His hand caressed further down, where her figure felt a little fuller. Just as the shade of night slowly smeared the color of dawn, she wakes to him being gone. Right before she shuts her eyes and falls into stillness, she imagines the several other women. Days were long, longer than even the sleepless nights that felt almost like 1,000 daybreaks. During those days, she found herself doing everything that made her enough to be remembered. Sundown, she is ready to face her longing, the longing she's held to herself as she waited for him, her tongue carrying only his name. She walked around the city, leaving scattered pieces of herself, hoping that someday, when he'd come looking for her, he would find her in the lives of all around him.
Wow. That was amazing. Really
Thank
great
you.
work. Thank you so much, Mariam, for sharing.
Thank you so much.
And next, we have Dr. Susan Porterfield.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I guess everybody else can as well. All right, so I'm very happy to have you with us all the way from Chicago. And Dr. Susan Porterfield was one of my professors during my MA program. And I'm very happy to cross paths again in this setting. So you've been a wonderful inspiration to so many people. And so should I go ahead and introduce you, or would you prefer talking about the poem first?
It doesn't matter to me. I can, why don't I, you want me, I think I'll just read my poetry. How about that?
So
okay, I'm gonna, oh, go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Porterfield writes poetry and essays about poetical matters. Born in Chicago, she has a PhD in 19th century British literature and an MA in British art from the Courtauld Institute in London. She is the recipient of an Illinois Arts Grant for Poetry, the Cider Press Review Editor's Prize for Poetry for her book, Dirt, Root, Silk, and she won a Fulbright grant to Lebanon, which resulted in her book of poetry, Kibbe.
Okay, I'm going to read two poems. The first one is called What I Can Save. And I think in these times when everything is happening all at once, sometimes we feel, what can we do? And we feel impotent to do anything. And so this is a poem about that. And so here it is, What I Can Save. Small instances of light and mass, fine arms and legs, maybe antennae, things with wings or fins or tails. We've a bug jar to ferry out, shelter cats, a snooze. I send money, but not enough. Eased my mother, but not enough. I couldn't help a crippled raccoon scooting by for scraps, and a fox last year, struck by the car ahead, who locked eyes as I drove by. I didn't save my father from dying alone. I dodged an unstable friend, ignored a man begging. I slept and ate and fussed my hair through Kosovo and Rwanda. I saved no refugee babies washed up on Syrian children pulled from stone. Seems these hands are stumps. My heart's a front hall closet. My head a coarse weave net. So just the sense of, you see so much going on in the world, and then you change the channel or whatever. You know, there's just little we can do. Now, on a happier note, although it may not seem happier, the next poem is called Story of a Little Time with Birds, and it actually was a dream. It seems sad, but it really isn't. It really isn't. They thought she died, but maybe not. After all, there she was, sitting across from him, as always, chatting away at the breakfast table, reading the New York Times, all the news. Meanwhile, birds flew in and out of the house as if it were a conduit or path. They couldn't stop them. And really, they liked the razzle-dazzle wings, though she cautioned in public he shouldn't speak to her aloud, since people were sure to ask, who are you talking to? And besides, they themselves didn't know what the story was, since they were pretty sure she died, though she wasn't acting dead. In truth, they didn't care. We could live this way forever, they thought, birds and all, fluttering round their place, twittering airs. She was beginning to hum.
Very powerful and beautiful, as usual. Thank you so much, Dr. Porter.
Thank you, Rula. Thank you for having this.
So much for being here. It's a great honor.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And next we have Noor. Noor is another one of our bright students, of our exceptionally bright poets. Noor, I can't see you. Could you wave or something so I can, all right, yes, now I can see you. Okay, so Noor Rohana is an architecture student at the American University in Dubai. She enjoys writing poetry and short stories during her free time. And today you will be sharing with us the poem that you had in Indelible's latest issue, right?
I actually am going to share two new ones.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Sure.
but one of them is in Arabic and the other one is in English. But I'm just gonna start with the one Arabic. And I'm currently taking a philosophy course with Dr. Omar, and we talked about pain and God, and so that inspired tiny script that well, not script, it's like a tiny poem that I wrote, and it plays with the words of the Arabic language, where when you switch one letter into another, it completely changes the entire meaning while the words look exactly the same. So, okay, here goes.
Take it away.
الوجع بقربك من ربك لأنه بالوجع في جوع، بيعطيك مظبوط حجمك وبيطلعك طلوع. الوجع ما بيعرف لقب، خصوصي وجع القلب، خصوصي وجع القلب. الوجع صرخة بس مثل الصخرة بتصير مع مر الوقت. بالوقت قوة وللقوة وقت. ما تخاف من الوجع، خليك عالسمع، ما بتعرف أمتين الحياة بتدقلك حيات، بيسمولك بدنك وبيسممولك روحك. خليك محضر لتتحضر وتعلى عند تعالى، هونيك ما في جوع وما في وجع. فإذا بعدك موجوع وجرحك مولع، اعرف إنه ما وصلت، فاطلع، مش فوق مش تحت مش برا، جوا. Thank you.
Very beautiful, and it applies so much to what we're going through today. How, you know, it's not only indoors, but it's also, you know, inner.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, we're in a state where we might become more contemplative to jua, as you said, or what's inside. That's very beautiful, Noor. And your other poem is in English?
Yes.
Okay.
And okay, for those of you who don't know, Jim Carrey painted in his free time, and it was his way of healing from a heartbreak. And there was this piece that I saw that was very inspiring, and if you'd like to check out his work, and it talks about what I think it talks about, and the title of this poem is called Float Again. When your heart is in love, you're floating weightless. When you lose that love, you have to re-enter the atmosphere, and it can get pretty rough. You're just bouncing off of one molecule after the next, tipping through them just with such a space that they just ignite and explode, until you find another heart that's doing the same thing, has landed and cooled, and then you start to float again.
Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Noor.
Jim Carrey.
I didn't know that. I learned something new tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Next on the list is Stefano Carpani, but I can't see Stefano. So if Stefano, you could wave or write something in the chat box. Maybe you're here, but under another name. I can't find you. Okay, so we'll move to the next poet. So next we have Dr. Alan Hickman. I'm trying to unmute you. And okay. So Dr. Hickman. Yeah, so I'll read your bio. Dr. Alan Hickman was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the US and received his PhD in English from the University of Arkansas in 1990. Since then, he has taught in 5 countries on 3 continents, including, in addition to Dubai, Thailand, Germany, Bulgaria, and the United States. Teaching may be his day job, but by night, he's a poet and a singer and songwriter. Dr. Hickman is also the author of 2 chapbooks of poetry and dozens of essays on literature. His most recent publications include an article on visual effects in Shakespeare's sonnets that was published in the Sideri 21 yearbook, Spanish and Portuguese Society for English Renaissance Studies, an article on adaptations of Shakespeare's sonnets into other media, published in Lingua Culture, and a quartet of theater reviews on Shakespeare and Shakespeare-related plays in Cahiers Elisabethien. His essay, titled Shadows Like to Thee, Modern Writers Take on the Character of William Shakespeare, was published in the fall 2019 issue of the Human Sciences Review. His interests extend to music. In 2012, he published a CD of self-penned songs written over a 45-year period. The CD is entitled Love Is Here by Somebody Else. He administers a film music blog as Somebody Else on Facebook. Okay, we're happy to have you here, Alan. Alan is also a regular contributor to our open mics, and we can't wait to hear your poem.
Well, I was going to try to do two.
Yes?
One is very short.
Yeah, you do have time for two. Yeah.
Okay. And before I begin, I wanted to extend congratulations to the AUD senior class of 2020. I missed the opportunity to do that with the other project. My first poem is the longer one. It's called Flora and the Orange Menace. When that I was, and a little tiny boy, in quotation marks, I lived in San Antonio. We all liked Ike. I rode my bike. Everybody paid allegiance to the throne. I mean the flag. Grew up with the boomers in a time of Vietnam. My bone spurs on the line. The kids yelled peace. The press said cease. And we all formed a circle and sang Kumbaya, the national anthem. Now, please don't get me started on the Nixon years, the Billy beers, the tears for fears. When it comes to hell's a-poppin', we were shifting gears, and we all hit the bar on Friday night. We got in line for gas when we were stoned on grass. Did another kind of line before we stood for taps. We dressed like Mr. Rogers, and we took no sass. Too busy giving him and her the right. Never thought there'd come a time when we'd repent it all, throw our hands up in the air and let the curtain fall. Too blind or self-absorbed to heed the battle call. And we went and did a silly thing, Vlad. I mean, Dimitri. There's a sickness in our lives that's not to do with affluenza, bleach, or Chinese flu. It's more than just an ache around the brain. We shot our wad and clearly went insane. Yeah, that country's got it bad, and that ain't good. No time to tinker underneath the hood. Let's put things back the way we know we should and close the aching gap twixt earth and heart. I'm sorry, and it chaps my butt to say it, but it's time to get this monkey off our back. If that means kicking ass, well, then we'll slay it ere this clay and granite planet falls apart. That one is several references to songs, but I decided I wouldn't sing those references. And the second one is a very short one entitled Ruins. It's a love poem for the elderly. Like the romantic poets, I too have a soft spot for ruins. I scorn to imagine a castle keep uncrumbled and restored to lustrous youth. I much prefer a sweatered manse to a puffed up Notre Dame. That's why, my dear, I you so prize, like a rare jewel set in gold that's just begun to rust, your nose hair and your gray eyes notwithstanding. I love you for what was, but wouldn't trade what is for all the woolies in Angora. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan. I love the wordplay, the references, everything. Thank you so much for being a part of this, always.
Thank you.
Okay, and next we have Dr. Frank Darwish. Frank, I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Hiya.
Hello. So, Frank, do you mind if I unmute you? All right.
As you wish.
So Frank Derwish is a Lebanese-French associate professor of philosophy at the University of Alaman and former professor of philosophy at the École Nationale Supérieure d'Art, Dijon, France. He's also a researcher published in various peer-reviewed journals of philosophy. His interests include ontology, German philosophy, Heidegger, Kant, Hegel, Gadamer, phenomenology, and philosophy of art. Derwish writes on most of his days for different reasons and in a different manner. Commenting on the process of writing, Derwish believes that for the researcher in him, writing is like constructing an edifice qua essay or article or book. For the translator in him, it is taking something on and giving it a new voice in a new world, a new language. For the poet in him, writing is curated to allow for the unsaid to come phenomenologically into the open of language. Okay, so Frank, are you ready to fire away?
Sure. Can you see me? This is the first time I do this, so I'm
We
not
can see you.
sure if you can see me. All right. Okay. The first poem I'm reading. Well, I do happen to sing in an unusual band made of contemporary jazz
Sorry,
musicians.
Frank. I think the line is breaking up a little.
Can you hear me? Okay. This
Yeah, now
is
it's better.
Lebanese internet.
I figured as much.
I'm gonna. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. The first poem is actually something that was also turned into a song with certain musicians of contemporary music. So I will read it, but it will sound a little bit also like something else, like not quite only a poem. And it's basically it encapsulates my vision of what it is to be in love. This very big theme. So it's called One. Let me kiss everything that says skin, everything that says you, every pore I find myself. Let me kiss. Let me smell myself from within. Let me be your flesh. Let me kiss. There are mirrors inside that tell of me, shattered by tears, rebuilt for hate and fear. Whole mirrors inside that tell of me. There are books afloat, always afloat, empty books, shipwrecks, someone and no one, someone and no one. Let me hold them till they turn to blood. Let me hold them till I become you. On the bed of leaves, we are worms. On the bed of leaves, we are wormwood for the plinths of life. Fingers linger, wanting our opaline color and eyes. Eyes along the airless distance, reflections in a pond beyond the skin. Starting with the whiplash that gave our names, let us measure the courses of echoing dins. Let us measure the courses of the echoing din that built our cocoons and skins. That built our cocoons and skins. Under the stinging screens of paradise, I shall scream the times and nothings of you on the forest needles where I pine for your veils, where I pine to be mine. Let me kiss. That's the first one.
Wow.
The second one is about the violence in the creative process. shorter. It's called Bedded. My wind is darker than the soul that has torn through my nights. The flickering nothings observe the fledgling window panes flitting under the possibilities of disaster and the laughter of chance. The marks on the skin bespeak days that are to be, dancing, dancing on the lingering flight of forgetful waifs, in the eyes of beasts present and humans past. The head turns, whirls, murky shallows and remorseful blasts. The paw shakes the bed. The mattresses diverge dreams into dirges of listless whites, racking the castle solid words on pages of a hapless mortal in hopeless delights. Thank you. That's it.
Wow, thank you, Frank. I really don't know what to say. This is terrific. Thank you so much.
Oh,
And
great. Thank you.
we hope that this isn't the last time. We hope that you become a regular contributor as well. Thank you for being here.
Great. Definitely.
Thank
Thanks.
you. And next, we will move to Enham. Enham, I can't see you, so if you may wave or say something in the chat box so that we can know that you're here. Enham. Okay, it seems like Ilham isn't here today. So I'll move to Lorette. Lorette, I know you're here, but I can't see you. Can't find you. All right, it looks like maybe Lorette got disconnected. Oh, I can see you now. Right.
To unmute.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Hear you and see you.
Okay, great.
For that.
Hi.
Okay, so Lorette is a mixed media artist and the editor of the Ekphrastic Review at www.ekphrastic.net, a journal dedicated exclusively to literature inspired by visual artwork. And her own poems and stories have been published in around 200 magazines, journals, and blogs. She holds a bachelor's degree in applied arts and journalism, and she focuses on creative work in visual art, photography, poetry, and art writing. Lorette teaches workshops on ekphrastic writing and on art without drawing. Her art shows regularly at her home in Toronto, Canada, and she has also exhibited her work in other cities around the world like Brisbane, Bristol, Edinburgh, Los Angeles, San Diego, Chicago, New York, Yucatan, and recently Tunisia, where she participated in an international artist symposium, creating paintings for the Ministry of Culture and exhibiting in 2 exhibitions in Tunis and Hammamet. Her website, www.mixedupmedia.ca, is where she showcases her work and posts her latest news. We're very happy to see you, very happy to have you with us. Lorette is a regular contributor to Indelible, not only with her beautiful poetry, but also with her amazing artwork. So Lorette, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. The poem that I wrote for Indelible is called Snowmen, and it's from my book Pretty Time Machine, which is all ekphrastic prose poems. Snowmen. The day after the deep freeze, you break loose from the tyranny of tangled comforters and thermal pajamas to plod across the frosty floorboards, fetching a bag of coffee grinds from a mythic kingdom of warm. There is barely a droplet of cream in the carton, and you curse yourself for putting it back into the fridge near drained, as if you could fool the future when it came to reckon. You mummify yourself in pink and yellow yarns, swaddling stripes over ears and forehead and hands. Slide into waterproof feet and take the easy way down 10 stories, baring your teeth slightly so no one talks to you in the elevator if anyone is there. Outside, the brutal blast of ice hits you hard across the face, but someone else has already shoveled the sidewalk, parting the snow like Moses did the Red Sea so you can get through, so you can get that Java while it's still dark outside. Inside, the donut shop is a cheerful bustle of bleary-eyed boys in hairnets acknowledging customer thanks with a rote, "My pleasure." The neighborhood homeless have taken shelter in the cafe's neon glow, sipping steeping tea, parked at the fireside tables alongside their bundles to dry. Outside, a huddle of men in fluorescent X vests, frozen paws fumbling to sort tools, start saws, wrest away fallen branches blocking cars, to Jimmy Motors back to life, whisk away refuse, return the world to working order. No such leisure or comfort, no fireside chats. There are icicles on the lashes of one so young that he's still pretty. Their paper-vested coffee still untouched, already turning to ice. No rest for the wicked.
Beautiful. There's a lot of ice, but there's a lot of color. So it's like I can see one of your paintings in it. Did you ever paint that poem?
No. No, I didn't. Thank you so much.
Be sure to let us know whenever that happens. Right. Thank you so much, Lorette, for being here and for sharing your beautiful poetry.
Thank you so much.
And next we have Perla. Perla, let me look for you. Still looking for Perla. Perla, could you please type in the box if you're still here? Right, I can see you now. Okay. All right, so Perla, it's wonderful to have you with us today. And let me introduce you. Perla, or Perla Kantarjian, is an English studies graduate from Beirut who has been a writer from the age of 12. Apart from publishing her writings on various online platforms like Rebel Society, Elephant Journal, the Armenian Weekly, Bookster, and more, she works as a journalist for prominent Lebanese daily An-Nahar newspaper and is the editor of the newspaper's poetry section, Carpe Diem. Besides her writing life, Perla is a hula hoop performer who spends her days traipsing in foreign land, be it physical or abstract, in pursuit of ever-changing artistic muse. She is currently working on a novel. So welcome, Perla. We're very happy to have you here with us. And anytime. We still can't hear you, though you're not muted. So maybe you need to check your microphone. Try to say something. Still can't hear you. Maybe you need to mute and then unmute again. Can't hear. Would you want me to give you a few minutes and then, okay, right. So is Stefano here? Because I still can't see Stefano, or Ilham? Stefano or Ilham? Right. So I guess I'm up next. All right. The poem I'm going to read today is the one that I posted in Indelible this April. and it's called coquelicot. Now, a coquelicot is the poppy flower, the red flower that comes out in spring. I'm very inspired by myths, especially the myth of Adonis. And this poem was mainly inspired by this myth. It was also inspired by a painting, though, by Monet's painting at the poppy field in Argenteuil. The view of all the poppies, it sort of brought thoughts and images from the myth of Adonis. So the poem goes like this. Coquelicot. Deep from within the earth's fathomless womb, when blood blazes with birth, it is a blare, a bling of beauty among the sleeping modest, an annunciation of an anastasis, kisses the terra firma with the rising poppy, whose heart of fire hides a path, a coal-black crossroad of mystery. Well obscured within the flaunty scaffold, on a red carpet by the shores of Byblos, yet in the fields of Argenteuil. Adonis, puer, a passionate call for love and life, stands proud and eternal from the puella's bosom. With eyes of the sun and of the night is a rising star, Astarte's breath. An announcement of sunrise blows over the crimson mane. Specks of ruby awaken, scattering along the tips of the jaded wool, among the humble nobility of the yellow, violet, and indigo buds, swaying their heads to the crooning tunes of the morning winds. In the strength of the voice, the blaze of the mane, and the dilating veins of the singing sanguine is the raucous song of life, sung by the coq and the coquelicot. So this is my contribution for the evening. I hope you like it. And we're gonna, thank you. We're gonna go back to Perla, hoping that we'll be able to hear her now. If not, all right, if not, we'll give you a few more minutes and we'll move to Danya. Danya will be playing some music. So this is going to be extra special. Danya, let me unmute you.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome. So is it junior?
It's better to just play in English, right? Because there's no time.
Well, how long is it? You have a 5-minute slot, so if you could fit in 1 or 2 songs, that would be great.
I'll just go to the English song then. But you can continue my bio if you're reading it.
It's all right. Is a junior student at the American University in Dubai. She's currently pursuing a Bachelor of Communication and Information Studies with a major in digital production and storytelling. Her favorite forms of writing are poetry and short stories, along with songs to accompany her guitar playing hobby. So we can't wait to hear your song, Danya. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say hi to my mom who I invited here today. Hi, Mom. She was waving among the crowd of gallery. So the song I decided to play today is one that's happier than my usual song. I think I've become a bit infamous at these open mics for playing some quite upsetting themes. So this one's a bit more uplifting, I thought would be more fitting, I think, to what we kind of need to hear at this time. So this song is called Indigo, and it was based and inspired by the idea of feeling blue. And I just wanted to give like a sort of a secondary contrast to that, which indigo is literally the secondary contrast of blue. So just expanded on that theme, and you're gonna hear a lot of other themes, hopefully. Hopefully you guys can hear me yet. Well, clear? I hope.
I can hear you.
Okay. Let me just double check this. Okay. I don't really care if it's peach. My bed of roses still the strew. I say I don't care what you think of me. Well, that's the better point of view. My sense of self, it's not unique. I'm red steaming through the room. No, it doesn't quite make me upbeat, that I think I found something better to do. I'm moving out, cause I'm moving up. I quit this search cause there's just so much stuff. I'm a glass half full, no need to fill me in. I'm not too cool, I'm good with this heating. I thought that too, but now it's what I've been. Cause I'm canceling my new coloring. I was blue, but now it's getting old. It's too much work to stay inside this hole. I'm done expecting things to take their toll, and now I think I'm feeling indigo. I'm turning purple in the cheeks, and my tongue's gone a baby blue. Well, now there's nothing more to see. Fine, great, even if I don't make it through. I'm giving in, but I'm not giving up. It could be worse, but it's just not enough. I'm a glass half full, no need to fill me in. I'm not too cool, I'm good with just teaching. I thought that too, but now it's what I've been. Cause I'm consuming my new coloring. I was blue, but now it's getting old. It's too much work to stay inside this hole. I'm done expecting things to take their toll. Now I think I'm feeling indigo. Doing fine. How about you? Thanks for asking. No, I didn't ask you to. No, it's not late to know that I'm pulling through. I'm alright at getting by, much better than I used to. I'm a glass half full, no need to fill me in. I'm not too cool, I'm good with this heating. I thought that too, but now it's what I've been. Cause I'm consuming my new coloring. I was blue, but now it's getting old. It's too much work to stay inside this hole. Don't expecting things to take their toll. Now I think I'm feeling indigo. I was blue, but now I can't move on. Tell me alone, everyone get along. One to the one perfect flow. Now I think I'm feeling indigo. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Do you have another piece to play as well?
I do, but I'm not sure if I'll have time because they're both 3 minutes.
Right. So how about we start with the open mic, and then you, if you would like, you could sort of close the session.
Okay.
Another one of your songs. All right, thank you. So let me try one more time with Perla. Perla?
I think it's working now.
Yes, finally. All right, Perla, we're very happy to have you here with us. And anytime. Go ahead.
All right, so the first poem is called Notice the Scent of Blood Between My Lines. It's a nonfiction. I wrote this a few months ago when the revolution in Lebanon first started.
Okay.
And it became manifest out of my personal experiences as a woman in Beirut. And it's actually dedicated to Beirut. So here we go. I slither upon you in the afternoons of Sundays, when the men are in their homes, by their wives, their mothers, sleeping away the heaviness of their fleshy meals, instead of squirting their eyes and tongues outwards On Sunday afternoons, it is calm, almost, and I slither and slide upon your calling grounds. Your streets become my riverbed, and I become your river, flowing, flowing, in quasi-comfort, never yet whole. Remember, I am a woman, and upon your streets, women are yet unwelcome to walk alone. There are creaky cracks in your fractured infrastructure, and women are vulnerable. Everywhere, everywhere is unsafe. Your father, brother, uncle, husband, citizens warn, but only to your women. You and I have both been broken open and contaminated. Your undying wars left you marred with ruptures incessant, oozing blood in place of Syrian purple. But yet I look at you breathing through the crevices, daringly, you inspire me and all your women. Remember, you and us have been both broken open and violated. Yet we do not mind to die bleeding while we stitch ourselves into form, for we know what happens when we remain threadbare, static, open. Remember, they called your October Revolution female, and the headlines wondered what it is that pulling force that bound us, your women, to the front line of the uprising for months. 4 months they roared. Little did they know, we have been on the front line fighting for years and years. We yet remain unanswered, yes, but never at a standstill, never without a needle and a thread in our bruised palms, tying our own goddamn seams.
Very
So,
fine writing, Perla. Thank you very much for sharing. Do you have another poem to share?
yeah, I have another one. This one is a fiction piece. It's a new one, which came out after I heard a news about a man in Tripoli beating his 5-year-old daughter to death. And after that news erupted, I had a writing challenge with my writing friends. The challenge was to write about abuse, whatever type of abuse there is, and I opted for verbal abuse. So the title is I Write This Because My Tongue is Tied. I dissolve and dissolve my responses in my gastric juices, my circulating blood, the paddings of my lungs. My saliva is so dense and potent with liquid and liquefied matter. It is prerequisite I expose my mouth to air. Before rolling any cigarette, I must dry out my tongue, almost there. I do this because his voice is so loud it fills the space between our walls and leaves no room for ours. I do this because I have had it with sound and volume and howls. I've come to depend on my posture, my vision, my presence as communication. I've never been a people person. I need to think twice before gaining acquaintance if they anger me or leave me breathless. My throat tastes viscous, my voice changes, and they know. They lose interest. It is my weakness, this curdling of soul's components, this leaving the heavy stuff down below my lungs, my stomach, in the sturdy braids of my tresses, between the margins of my pages, anywhere, anywhere except out there, in the unreceptive open. I am not at fault. It is and becoming almost ancestral, this swallowing, this suppressing of words, of emotions. I approach people with a throat clogged from all the words undigested, stranded between my palates, pirouetting around my tongue, unmelted, unyielding. In my house, we have always washed our emotions down with fluids. It gets overwhelming. I've always wondered why mother rarely steps out of the kitchen. She's always washing the dishes, the cups, the bottles, always making sure our fridge is brimming with liquid material in case one of us chokes. I sleep with my window wide open so I do not wake in the middle of the night gasping for air, in case in a dream someone somewhere makes me feel something and I choke from the excess.
Wow, this is a very powerful poem depicting a very harsh reality. Thank you so much for sharing it, Perla. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
And we hope that you are here with us regularly as well. Right. So I'm going to give an open mic now to whoever would like. So I have Joyce, who has expressed an interest in performing or reading out one of her poems. So Joyce, I see you.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
It's a pleasure being here.
Likewise. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your poem?
Okay, so I'm a 17-year-old rising poet from Lebanon. I've taken part in many open mics around the area. I've won many writing competitions around the area. I'm proud of how far I've come so far, and I'm sure I have a long way to go, and it's really an honor being here with all of you. The poem that I'm going to be reading tonight is one of the poems that I wrote in May. When we first started the quarantine, I began participating in many open mics internationally, but then I figured out that I should maybe try and experiment a little with my poems. And so I'm known to be a love poet, and I really love my mother tongue. So I said, why not mix both languages, English and Arabic? And so that's what I came up with. It's called Yet Another Love Poem. And here it rains again, bringing back that season. Do you remember? November with a revolution, burning ablaze with everything between us falling out of place, with the moon and that room that I never dare to step in anymore. I called you and said, وما الحب سوى تفاصيل صغيرة. أتمنى لو أن رذاذ عطرك عالقا في الهواء يراقص أنفاسي. وأنا جالسة على الشرفة في تشرين، لا يهم إن كان الأول أم الثاني، فأنا ما زلت في أيار. عندما كنت لا أعرف سوى اسمي غريب وصوته المميت المحيي. وما الحب سوى تفاصيل صغيرة. أرتشف من كوب الشاي كالمليء بقهوتي، وأتذكر يوم قلت أني قهوتك. تصبرني كلماتك على بعدك، فأنا خير من يعلم بمرض الإدمان. لقد مر عام يا حبيبي، وما الآتي بعد، وما قد مضى. سخرية القدر ارتطمت بالواقع، فكتبتك بكلمات أنت من علمني أبجديتها. وصفتك ببيروت وأنت تدري أنني أرسل لك سلامي كل صباح، مع أناشيد الطيور ونباح الكلاب وصراخ الأطفال. ألست أنت من علمني أن الحب ليس الغرق؟ أن الحب هو تفاصيل صغيرة عمقها أمان ودفئها رائحة تفوح كالحبق. And the silence between us still makes me feel like home. So today, when we watch the sunrise together, I won't tell you that I am not afraid of the dark, or that I am not allergic to dust as long as you hold my hand. I don't want to alter the silence with the truth or ruin this home that I built in you. Today, when we watch the sunrise together, I will listen to your laugh and imagine myself hearing your heartbeat as I lay on your chest and draw murals between the hairs. And after you fall asleep, I will stay up a little longer to thank the universe for this good morning. I will stay up a little longer and watch the sun as it beams down on the green meadows and hills, and I will welcome the birds with open arms, for maybe they've traveled with you across the seas once. وكما تتبدل الفصول، وكما تنجلي الأيام، وكما يحلو السهر، تمر ذكرياتنا كلمعة في بصيص الأحلام. وهل كنا سنبقى مستيقظين لولا أكسير الأمل؟ الوقت ما هو سوى بدعة سخيفة كان قد خلقها الأشرار، واعتاش منها مكسوري القلوب محطمي الفؤاد. أما أنا فأقف وبجانب الموسيقى ألعب لعبة التحديق مع الحياة، وأخسر في الثانية مرتين، وألعب من جديد، وأحدق في وجهها بوقاحة مستهزئة بها ضاحكة، فأنا لم أخلق للهزيمة. أنا عشيقة نسر صقر طائر فنيق كبير كبير. أنا حبيبة محارب سيفه قلم ودمه شعر وصراخه موسيقى. أنا تلميذة ذاك الذي لم يهزمه الظلام، فأليس استسلامي حرام؟ When one person teaches you how to stitch, the knives become your friends. وعندما ترميك الحياة بين قضبان حديد، حول حطامك إلى منشار ونادي بالهروب يا مواجهة. You may not be permanent, but the gems you left here still flicker under the rays of my growth to remind me of the power of creation that I hold in tips of my fingers. You are a warrior, my love. You are a pilot, so no matter how far you fly, this homeland here in my heart will tidy up the place for you in case you return. إن كانت هذه آخر مرة تجلس فيها بجانبي وتسألني أن أقرأ لك الأشعار، فليكن هذا الشعر الأخير، وليكن هذا البيت القصير خاتمة أسطورة خلدناها. حبيبي، إن عدت فلتكن العودة جميلة، وإن بقيت غائبا يكون الغياب من العودة أجمل. وإياك أن تنسى أن حبيبتك تلك الطفلة المازحة الصغيرة تحولت لجبل يرفض الانهيار، للهب لنار ترفض الخمود، لامرأة ترفض الهزيمة. You once said that I don't seem to be Arabian. فسأقول كلماتي الأخيرة وأغطيها بهويتي بعربيتي، وليكن هذا the most Lebanese thing I have ever said. حبيبي بحبك كتير. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joyce. That was unique. I love the code switching between classical Arabic, Lebanese Arabic, English. This is very beautiful. So keep them coming and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.
Time as well. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to give it a shot? Trail, Miss Trail Koshan. It's nice to have you here with us. So, Trail, could you hear? We can't hear you. You can hear me, I guess, but we can't hear you. So maybe you need to check your mic.
Okay. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So Trail is also a regular contributor to our open mics. And do you have anything ready for today, or would you want to go ahead and read your contribution to Indelible?
Which would you prefer? I have another one.
Okay.
I'll do the other one because it's a little bit lighter. It's pure fiction, so it's a little lighter.
Okay. Right.
It's a, go ahead.
Can I read your bio, the one on Indelible?
Oh, sure. You don't really have to. Sure, you can. You're welcome. That would be great.
Trail is the Senior Academic Support Coordinator in AUD. She has been an academic advisor to students at Stanford University and a teaching assistant and mentor to graduate students at both Stanford and Clemson University. Ms. Kolshin is a certified teacher with extensive classroom experience across all grades and with special needs children. She has also taught adults in non-traditional training environments. She loves finding success with de-spirited students because she believes everyone can succeed. So.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, maybe I'll read the other one. This is it's a story about gangsters. So it's, but I said it's kind of light. It's sort of dark, but it's light in that it's pure fiction and not based on reality at all. And so imagine me in maybe a hat on a horse and very handsome. Okay, it's called Crown and Cheek. If you've ever watched the show Peaky Blinders, sort of from there. Crown and Cheek. Turn the other cheek. I have but two, and they're both bruised and bloodied by my rival. Gangsters ought not have soft cheeks, you know. Always 2 days since a proper shave. We're handsome, not forgiving. We ride slick stallions with grace and a cadence that creeps up from behind. I deserve the beating, I admit. I crasped my adversary. My loyal spies identified his latest whiskey stash, and I stole every crate but one. That last box I left behind. I left inside his dusty depot by the docks for clumsy cops to surely find. Of course, I tipped them off. The police are either bought or blind. I also left a simple map behind to be sure they took him in. The coppers found him in his hideout, choking as they broke it in. Off to jail with him. Of course, my foe was freed by his waxy-haired lawyers with little greasy hands. And by then, he'd already planned his nasty retribution. His deadly ammunition was that he knew me well. He was once my friend, you know. How so, you ask? Well, long ago, his poised wife taught me how to count, how to sign my name and spell, and he himself inspired me with his stories of gangsters rising up from hell. But now, he knew my daily deeds and routes. He knew where my lady loved to dance, and so last night, not by chance, he aimed at my broad chest where my sweet wife's cheek was resting, and hit her with a bullet you might think was meant for me. But no, he let me live to watch her die, and then he started pulling out my teeth and poking in my eyes, now solid red in places, crusty, swollen round and twitching as I blink. Perhaps he let me live in error. He must have known I'd come again for my own revenge and that I'd regain my swagger. Or was he drained in feigning anger, obliged to show some pride as he passed the crown to me? Tonight, I shot him face to face like men, and I admit I made the matron watch, and then I shot her too in pity. And as I wipe my bloody hands and cheeks, I turn, knowing that we both deserve the beatings, but I alone am crowned. The end.
Wow. That was.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this. It's the first time you share something like this during our open mics, right?
Yes, I always read the 99-word thing, so I thought I'd switch it up. And that's what I mean by it's kind of light because it's pure fiction.
Right, it's wonderful. Thank you, Trail.
Thanks for organizing this, by the way.
So much for being here.
Bye.
And who else would like to be up next? I know I can't hear everybody. So what you can do is just type in the chat box. We still have time for one more before Danya closes our session with one of her beautiful songs. So, anyone? Well, Danya, looks like you're next.
Okay. I just want to say, beautiful job from everyone's phones. That was really nice phone trail. It was. I loved it. It just from the story side of things, I could really see it. Just wanted to say that. So yeah, good job to everyone. This is a song. It's not my usual song at all. But since my mother is here, I wanted to play it. She's always been encouraging me to write a song in Arabic. But I just want to give the sort of base theme to it. It's called Inshallah. And I think us as Arabs, we know that while that word is religious, it almost means nothing when people say it to us all the time. So I thought it would be just a sort of nice comedic side to things as well as a criticism of maybe the ways we sometimes use language in Arabic as well. It's a bit funny. It's not too dark, hopefully. The melody might make it seem darker than it really is. So I just hope you guys enjoy the melody, not the language. Just need to tune things very quickly. يا خلصني وخففني شايفاك بدري بس خلصني بتحيرني ما تنهي شي خلاص انسي بس خليني إن شاء الله طب أيوة لا خليني right بالك إن شاء الله ما شاء الله صعب فيه الصعب فيه لو أصلا شيء إن شاء الله تتغير كنت اللي جاي في بالك إن شاء الله ما شاء الله ما فيه رأي ثالث كنت قلت ما فيها كان بس هويتي أفكاري ما حاسس بيه هذا اليومين إن شاء الله أفكاري وأنا شايفك تمشي تبقى تمشي هتساعدني إن شاء الله وأنا ما كان أنسي وتصمصني عشان تقلدني إن شاء الله إن شاء الله طبي وأنا قلت اللي جاي في بالك إن شاء الله ما شاء الله ما فيه رأي ثالث كان قلت لي ما فيها كان بس توفيقي أفكاري ما يحسس بي بين يومين إن شاء الله أفكاري وأنا شايفك تمشي تبقى تمشي هتساعدني إن شاء الله وأنا ما كان أنسي وتصمصني عشان تغلبني إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. It's actually happier than it sounds, I swear, but yes, I think it's a good farewell song.
It actually sounds happy.
Yeah, it just I wasn't sure because the lyrics, especially like for those who might not know Arabic, might sound unhappy.
It was wonderful as usual, and thank you so much, Danya.
Thank you to everyone.
Everybody else for being here tonight, and we hope to see you soon in our future poetry recitals. Hopefully the next one will be art themed. So our next gathering here on Zoom will be about art, the visuals. So there's going to be, it's going to be a talk on painting, a talk on photography. So we will be getting our indelible artists together again sometime soon, early in the fall. So let's say around early October. And I hope to see you all here again. Don't forget to tell your friends, tell your family, anyone else who's like-minded and who would enjoy such a setting. Don't forget to read Indelible if you haven't done so. It's www.indelibleaud, all one word.com. We also have an Instagram page and a Twitter account, and you can access those straight from the website. So you'll be able to get the address from there. And once again, thanks for kicking us off on some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poetry and music this evening / morning, again, depending on where you are. So have a great evening, everybody, and have a great day in case you're somewhere on the other side of the world. All right, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you again.